In Hollywood's golden age, there were love stories that were nothing like the glamorous ones on screen, but darker than any film noir ever made. These relationships were shrouded in fame, power, and age gaps that forced an entire generation into silence. This is the truth behind romances that the spotlight never touched, where youth, innocence, and even entire lives were pulled into a whirlwind of passion and deception. Number 1. Jerry Lee Lewis and Myra Gale Brown, 22 and 13. Jerry Lee Lewis, the most rebellious rock and roll star of the 1950, stepped onto a plane to England for his 1958 tour in a blaze of glory. But what shocked the press wasn't his fiery piano playing. It was the little girl walking beside him. That little girl was Myra Gale Brown. Lewis said she was 15, but the truth was exposed just a few days later. Myra was only 13, a 7th grader, and Lewis's biological niece. Not only that, he had not yet divorced his previous wife, meaning he had committed bigamy. A media storm exploded within 36 hours. Audiences booed, threw chairs, and every show was canceled. Lewis was forced to flee England in disgrace, his career collapsing before his eyes. Although the scandal nearly destroyed him, his marriage to Myra Gale Brown lasted 13 years before she filed for divorce, accusing Lewis of abuse and infidelity. Number 2. Jean Harlow and Paul Bern, 21 and 41. Jean Harlow was Hollywood's original platinum blonde bombshell. At 21, she married Paul Bern, a 41-year-old MGM producer. Harlow was young, dazzling, and fiery, like a star in mid-explosion. Bern was calm, serious, and deeply mysterious, a man everyone believed could never be touched by scandal. 2 months after the wedding, Paul Bern's body was found in their mansion. Police ruled it a suicide. But things grew even stranger when it was discovered that Bern had another wife, Dorothy Millette, a woman with mental illness who lived in seclusion and had been in contact with Bern shortly before his death. Jean Harlow became a widow at 21, and the truth behind Paul Bern's death remains one of Hollywood's most chilling, unsolved mysteries. Number 3. Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart, 20 and 45 inches, 1,944. Lauren Bacall stepped onto the set of To Have and Have Not at just 19 years old, skinny, shy, and never imagining she would turn Hollywood upside down. But the first time she saw Humphrey Bogart, 45 years old, weary-eyed, yet sharp as steel, something changed. She wasn't just playing a role, she was stepping into her destiny. Bogart was already a legend. Casablanca, the Maltese Falcon, the tough men Hollywood worshipped. But in real life, he was trapped in a chaotic marriage with Mayo Methot, a jealous, heavy-drinking woman who had once stabbed him in a fit of rage. In that chaos, Bacall appeared like a streak of light. They fell in love in silence, secretly exchanging letters and glances that lingered longer than co-stars should. Bogart wrote, "I have never met anyone who makes me tremble the way you do in 1945. After his divorce, Bogart married Bacall. She was 20, he was 45, and Hollywood erupted with one of the most beautiful love stories in film history. But age and fame came with a price. Bogart wanted a home. While Bacall yearned to continue her career, she sacrificed many roles to stay by him, while Bogart carried old wounds that never healed. When Bogart developed cancer and died in 1957, Bacall was just 32, a young widow with a pain no words could describe. At his funeral, she placed a small whistle in his casket, a symbol of the line that had bonded them from the moment they first met. Number 4. John Wayne and Pilar Pallete, 47 and 24. John Wayne, the immortal symbol of Hollywood, the rugged cowboy of the silver screen, had a real-life love story far softer than any role he ever played. In 1952, while filming in the jungles of Peru, Wayne met Pilar Pallete, a young 4-year-old actress with deep dark eyes and a voice as gentle as the South American breeze. In that moment, he was drawn to her as if by fate, but that fate was far from pure. Wayne already had a wife, and their marriage was filled with violence, jealousy, and persistent rumors of infidelity from both sides. 2 years later, when Wayne finally divorced, he and Pilar quietly married in 1954. Pilar later described Wayne as youthful, energetic, nothing like an older man. They had 3 children together and remained married for 25 years. But during the last 6, they lived separately, each in their own world. When Wayne died in 1979, Pilar's name was not included in his will, though according to attorneys, she had already received financial support beforehand. Number 5. Oona O'Neill and Charlie Chaplin. 18 and 5'4". Oona O'Neill, the daughter of famed playwright Eugene O'Neill, met Charlie Chaplin when she was only 18. Chaplin was 54 at the time, had been through 3 marriages, countless romantic scandals, and was being hunted by the FBI. While the press and all of America turned against Chaplin, Oona stood by him, even after her father disowned her. Chaplin loved Oona so deeply that he said, "Oona is the last spring of my life." And he was right. She became the anchor he leaned on for the final 34 years of his life, until Chaplin died in Oona's arms, leaving behind a love the world hated, but one that was the most beautiful thing he ever had. Number 6. Judy Garland and Vincente Minnelli. 23 and 42 inches. When Judy Garland was only 23, she had already endured more pain than most adults ever face, a childhood stolen by MGM, diet pills, sleeping pills, stimulants, and a first marriage already in ruins. Amid all of this, she met Vincente Minnelli, a quiet, elegant 2-year-old director who was completely different from her. Their working relationship was tense at first, but then things changed. Private dinners slowly turned into love. Even though rumors surrounded Minnelli's sexuality, Judy chose to overlook everything, just to hold on to a rare sense of peace. They married only a week after Judy finalized her divorce from her first husband. Their daughter, Liza Minnelli, was born soon after. But the issues they had once ignored came back to haunt them. Judy fell deeper into depression. The studio tightened its control, and Minnelli grew more distant. The marriage gradually collapsed, and by 1951, they separated. Number 7. Bing Crosby and Kathryn Grant, 53 and 23. Bing Crosby, with his velvet-soft baritone and warm smile, was the most familiar face in America, thanks to his Christmas songs and classic films. By the 1,950 seconds, he was a living legend. A 53-year-old man who had already known the heights of fame, the loneliness of being a widower, and the family troubles Hollywood always tried to hide. Meanwhile, Kathryn Grant, 23 years old, was just stepping into the entertainment world. Beautiful, bright, pure, and she had admired Bing since she was a 2-year-old girl. When they met, Kathryn said she felt like she was talking to the voice that had accompanied her childhood. But this love did not come easily. Bing had spent years battling the grief of losing his first wife, along with the pressure of raising 4 older children. He felt too old, too tired, too lost to begin a new romance. Kathryn was different. She was patient, gentle, and never rushed anything. She let Bing heal at his own pace, and it was this calmness that made him love her. In 1957, they married in a secret ceremony in Las Vegas, and Bing even misled reporters by giving them the wrong church address. He didn't like noise, Kathryn recalled. Our love belonged only to us. Despite their 30-year age gap, this became the most enduring marriage of Bing's life. They had 3 children and spent the final years of the music legend's life in peace together. Number 8. John Huston and Enrica Soma, 45 and 20. John Huston, the brilliant director behind masterpieces like The Maltese Falcon and The African Queen, was known for his fierce personality, complicated lifestyle, and an equally tangled love life. He met Enrica Soma when she was only 14, a young Italian dancer with a fragile beauty, as if she had stepped right out of a Renaissance painting. It wasn't until years later, when she turned 18, that their relationship became romantic. Soma became his lover, and soon after, his wife. On a single day in 1950, Huston flew to Mexico, divorced his third wife in the morning, and that very afternoon, he immediately married Enrica Soma when she was 20 and he was 45. A beautiful love, but one that began far too quickly. They had 2 children, including actress Angelica Huston. In 1969, at the age of 39, Enrica Soma suddenly died in a car accident, a marriage that began with passion, but ended in heartbreak and tragedy. Number 9. Cary Grant and Betsy Drake, 43 and 24. Cary Grant, the most elegant man in Hollywood, a face so perfect every director wanted him on screen. But behind that charm was a soul constantly searching for peace, a peace he never managed to keep for long. In 1948, on a ship from London to New York, Grant met Betsy Drake, a 24-year-old actress, intelligent, thoughtful, and unimpressed by his fame. Under the night sky and the sound of waves, they talked for hours as if they had known each other in another life. 2 years later, they married. This marriage was unlike Grant's previous noisy romances. Betsy introduced Grant to meditation, psychology, and things that helped him find balance. She was the one who encouraged him to try LSD therapy, legal at the time, in hopes of healing his lifelong loneliness. But peace never stayed long with a star like Grant. In 1956, while filming in Europe, he meets Sophia Loren, one of the most stunning beauties of the decade, and he fell in love like a young man. Grant even proposed to Sophia, while still married to Betsy Drake. Sophia refused, but that heartbreak fractured the marriage beyond repair. A few months later, tragedy struck. The ship carrying Betsy Drake collided in the middle of the ocean, killing more than 50 passengers. Betsy survived. Grant, who was filming at the time, did not leave the set for even a single day. They separated quietly, without scandal. In 1962, they officially divorced. Number 10. Elizabeth Taylor and Michael Wilding, 20 and 40. Elizabeth Taylor lived many lives within one. From child star to Hollywood legend, she went through 8 marriages, and her earliest romances often came with large age gaps. In 1952, at just 20 years old, Elizabeth entered her second marriage with Michael Wilding, a gentle British actor 20 years older than she was. In Wilding, Elizabeth found a peace she had never known through her youth, which MGM had pushed to exhaustion. Wilding was kind, steady, and willing to step back so his wife could shine. But that gentleness soon became a distance. Wilding grew older before Elizabeth's eyes, while she, in her 20s, became more radiant, more powerful, and hungry to finally live the youth she had been denied. In 1957, she left him for another older man, film producer Mike Todd, who was 3 years older than Wilding and 23 years older than she was. If Wilding was a cool breeze, Todd was a mesmerizing storm. He called Elizabeth Lassie and said she was the most beautiful woman God ever created. Elizabeth loved Todd as if discovering love for the first time. Todd was bold, energetic, full of passion for life, for film, and for her. They married just months after meeting, and Elizabeth became pregnant almost immediately. But Hollywood always knows how to take back what it gives. In 1958, Todd boarded a plane to New Mexico to receive an award. Elizabeth was supposed to join him, but stayed home because she felt an indescribable unease. The plane exploded in midair. Todd died instantly. Elizabeth Taylor, 26 years old, became a widow, holding her child and a shattered heart. Number 11. William Randolph Hearst and Marion Davies, 54 and 42. William Randolph Hearst was not an actor, but his influence on Hollywood was immense. As a newspaper tycoon, His power and wealth could elevate or destroy the career of anyone. And in 1917, he met Marion Davies. She was only 20, a chorus dancer with a mischievous smile and a sparkling sense of humor behind her blue eyes. Hearst, 54 years old, was instantly captivated by her, in the way great power often convinces men that everything in the world belongs to them. But there was one problem. Hearst already had a wife, and she, a strict Catholic, swore she would never divorce. So Hearst and Marion lived together as a secret couple that all of Hollywood knew about, but no one was allowed to mention. Hearst built lavish homes for Davies, put her in films, and even hired detectives to follow her whenever he was away, driven by obsessive jealousy. Despite it all, they stayed together for more than 30 years. When Hearst's empire faltered during a financial crisis, Marion quietly gave him $1 million, a massive sum at the time, to help him recover. In return, she was never acknowledged as his wife. In 1951, Hearst died. Marion appeared at the church, hands trembling, wanting to say goodbye after 30 years together. But the Hearst family refused. Number 12. Douglas Fairbanks and Sylvia Ashley, 52 and 31. Douglas Fairbanks was the prince of silent cinema, and he met Sylvia Ashley in the late 1920s. He was 52, already past his peak, while Sylvia was a 1-year-old English beauty, elegant, radiant, and full of life like a newly blossomed spring. At the time, Fairbanks was still in his legendary marriage to Mary Pickford, America's sweetheart. They were Hollywood's most powerful couple, owners of the Pickfair estate, where every star dreamed of attending their glamorous parties. But behind the lights, their marriage had gone cold long before. Fairbanks met Sylvia, and he ignited again. He adored her so deeply it was as if he became decades younger. Pickford tried to hold on, but after 2 long years filled with tears, Fairbanks divorced her to be with Sylvia, a breakup that shocked all of America. In 1936, he and Sylvia married. But a love bound tightly by fear of losing each other can never be healthy. Fairbanks grew obsessively jealous of his young wife. He hardly wanted to take his eyes off her. They stayed together until 1939, when Fairbanks died of a heart attack. Afterward, Sylvia married several more times, most notably to Clark Gable, another Hollywood legend who was also more than 2 decades older than she was. Number 13. Al Pacino and Lucila Sola, 72 Voltsa 32. Al Pacino, the icon of The Godfather, met Lucila Sola when he was 72 and she was 32, a 40-year age gap. But the story behind it was even more surprising. The first time Lucila met Pacino was when she was only 9 years old, watching her mother act alongside him in Argentina. Years later, when Lucila grew up and became an actress herself, they met again and fell in love. But the biggest drama came from Lucila's mother. She strongly opposed the relationship and gave an interview with a headline-making quote, "Pacino should be dating me, not my daughter. He's older than I am." Many rumors claimed Lucila wanted a child, but Pacino, nearly 80 at the time, feared he wouldn't live long enough to raise a child to adulthood. In the end, they separated quietly. No scandal, no accusations, no bitterness. Just 2 people who loved each other, but couldn't overcome the boundary of time. Number 14. Carlo Ponti and Sophia Loren, 38 and 16. Sophia Loren, just 16 years old, entered a small beauty contest in Rome. In a room filled with warm yellow lights and whispered conversations, Carlo Ponti, a 8-year-old film producer and one of the judges, slipped her a note encouraging her to pursue more competitions. She only won 2nd place, but something far more important began that day: their relationship. When Loren turned 19, they officially fell in love. But the tragedy was this: Ponti already had a wife, and Italian law at the time did not allow divorce. A great love, blocked by an entire country. In 1957, they tried to bypass the law by getting married through a proxy wedding in Mexico. This suddenly made Ponti a bigamist under Italian law. He faced possible imprisonment. Loren was threatened with losing her citizenship, Both were forced to annul the marriage, not because they didn't love each other, but because the law forbade them from being together. But true love always finds its path. They stayed together for more than 40 years, until Ponti passed away in 2007. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this journey. And now, what I truly want to know is your thoughts. How do these stories make you feel? Romantic? Tragic? Or a warning from a bygone era? Share your thoughts below, because every perspective you offer is a piece that helps us better understand Hollywood's secret, hidden world.